Hello, everybody. Welcome to Trader Minute. It's great to have you aboard. I'm Carl, and thanks for tuning in this afternoon. And I've been scouring through stocks, looking for three nice setups. And I found them. I found some. I want to look at. I want to make sure I look at these into the close. We got an hour left in the close. But one thing, when I give my top three, watch how they close. It's not about what they are right now. It's about how they're going to close. If they close towards the highs of the day, then they look really, to me, they look good. If they sell off into the close, then I would hold up. Okay, and but let's run through the top three. Right here is the chart of the market, the S&P 500, the SPX. This is not a top three, but yeah, look at that. It's today it's triggering a trend right or bull signal. If you want to look at the S&P technically, but yeah, runaway freight train mode, I guess you could say on the S&P. Okay, for the first stock that I want to look at today for the top three, and I found this by another stock I was looking at that looked good. And whenever I find one stock that looks good, I always look at some others within the same group and see how they look. And then I came across, I was looking at the Travelers, but then I looked at Allstate. And Allstate is looking pretty good. I'd watch this into the close. Since I looked at this, it was in the upper Bollinger Band when I looked at this half an hour ago. It's in the upper Bollinger Band. If you looked at my top three, if you refresh your screen, you'll see my top three there. You see the chart of what I was looking at. It's in the upper Bollinger Band. Watch it in the close. If it can push back up into that band and have a strong close today, I like the setup. Overall, the volume's a little bit light, but on these type of trades, again, we got an established trend going. We don't necessarily need a ton of volume, but it's nice to have fairly average volume on these type of trend trades. And that's what when we talk about a vibe bull entry, which this is, and if this goes up into the upper Bollinger Band here towards the close, you got a trend right or bull entry. So you'd have two of those entries triggering at the same time. Okay, so where we're looking at it here, let me show you both. So here's a vibe. Here's a vibe setup. So you can see all the averages rising. That's one of the things that we always look for. And these averages that we're using, we got a 50, a 100, and a 200, and we call this a locked up position where they're all running up. For a bear vibe, it would be just the opposite. All these would be running down. And what we're looking for is these pushes up through the 7 as it's growing higher. Okay, and there's other things that I'll look for as well. I mean, you could say that there's got a little bit of a flag pattern here, or you could call it a ascending triangle pattern with 54 being the area for it to break. It's pushing up through that today. Today, it ran lower, hit that 7-day moving average. Let me show you what I'm looking at here. You can see how the wick on the candle today ran down, hit the 7, went right up off of it, and pushing up a 54. A strong push here into the close would be very bullish here. So it's pulled back slightly since I looked at it, but that doesn't mean it's not going to rally here into the close. And a lot of the ones that we've been looking at lately, they've done just that. They've gone up into the close. If this sells off into the close and closes down here around the 54 area again, then I would hold off. But watch what it does here into the close today. And then Apple, and I know Jeff's brought this up. This has come up in my scans. I've been watching it throughout the day to see how it was going to go, and you can see it's up towards the highs. But same thing. This is a vibe bull entry, and just recently, it's been a while since we've seen the 200-day moving up on Apple, but you got it here within about the last week. All three averages rising. Today, what did it do? There's different patterns you can look at here. You could call it, like see a symmetrical triangle. You could say that there's a ascending triangle. Bottom line, 520 is held as a support level for quite some time now. Yeah, it's gone down below it a time or two, but notice every time that it's gone down below it, how it's been bought back up to that area very nicely. Down below it, and look at the next day. Every time it's popped down below it, the next day has always shot right back. That tells me there's a lot of buyers at 520. I don't know, maybe it's Carl Icahn. Just playing around. I don't know. He's in it. But so 520 is held. It's been right around the 7-day moving average for quite some time. Now it's pushing up off of it today. Very bullish signal here for Apple. So that's number 2. Now these aren't in any type of order in which I'd go out and make the trade. They're just my top 3. Okay, if you want to do any of these, you're welcome to it. Okay, my last one is Bristol Myers, BMY. And this is one of those, same thing. Watch this into the close today. All right, you've got the averages up. The thing I like about this one, you don't always need the volume, but look at that volume today. It's pretty strong. It's going to be pretty strong volume. Okay, what I'd watch for here, this is a VI bull. It's you can see how it's kind of the same as Apple there. Every time it's got below 52, it's immediately bought back up, including today. And you notice the bottoms here have got a little bit higher as it's dipped below 52. Bam, bam, right back up at 52. And today it's pushing up off of it. This closes up here towards the 53 mark today, towards the high of the day. This looks like a great opportunity for this to run higher. Now, when we're talking Vibe and TrendRider entrances, normally you're going to use the 7 as a stop. And right here, but what you got to do is look and see where we're at. So right now this stock's trading at 52.80. The 7, I'd come down a little bit. I'd give it a little bit of room to run. I'd come down and put my stop around 52. You don't want to get that 7 to get too close and say, all right, well, I'm going to get down and move below the 7, because if it's too close, then it could pop you out a little bit early. So initially, when you're getting into one of these trades, sometimes it's the 7 if it's far enough. If I feel it's far enough away, sometimes it's like the low of the day, or in this case, I drop down to the support level there at 52 is where I'd put a stop. All right, and as this gets going, if this gets up and going, breaking above 53 there, then start to use the 7 as your stop, and stay in the trade until it closes back below 7, back below the 7. That's the thing. The beauty that I love about these type of trades is the ease of all right, where's my stop? It's typically the 7 on this type of a setup. As far as price targets, same thing. You can ride it with the 7. As long as it stays in the trade, as long as it stays above the 7, you can put a price target in and say, all right, well, if this gets up to the 55, then I'm going to get out. To me, a break of 53, and this stock is really going to go places, getting out of this range where it's been up here. You know, there's not a lot of big volume up in this range when it was hitting 53 right there. So as it's coming up here, I wouldn't doubt to see this push through 53. 55, you know, it could go to 56. I would just watch it. If it starts breaking out, just watch that 7 and stay in it that way. All right. So that's my top 3. It was Allstate, ALL, Bristol Myers, which is BMY, and Apple. And I think everybody knows Apple, AAPL. Again, if you refresh your screen, you're going to see my top 3. It's already there for you. I've got some charts of it. Watch Bristol Myers and watch Allstate into the close. Even Apple. If Apple sells off into the close today, any of these sell off into the close, then I would hesitate. Okay, but right now, I mean, I think they're looking pretty good. Just watch them into the close, and that's true for any day that I give these. And so far, the last little while here, they've been doing all right, and they've been going up into the close. And that's what you're looking for. If you're new to the site, that's what you're going to hear us say a lot. We're going to make most of our trading decisions based of end of day, within the last hour. You'll see us make trades the last hour. You'll see us exit trades sometimes in the last hour. Maybe we're going to not make a trade because we see what's going on in the last hour. So we give this close to the close, about an hour before. If they look good, we might enter one of these here in the coming little while here. And so there's the top 3. Now I've got some runners up, and they've been kind of fizzling on me. All right, and here's a runner up. Now I know a lot of people like Netflix out there. It's a runner up. You can look at this and you can look and say, yeah, hey Carl, that's a VI bull. It is. It's a VI bull. You can see you've got their averages rising here. The volume has been light for a long time up in this range. Where the other stocks we've been looking at, you haven't seen a kind of a rout in volume for a while. It is pushing up today. I'm just a little bit hesitant. It is bouncing up off the 7. You got your averages rising. This big price action up here, this was their big earnings announcement. That big old thing right there, that went the other way as people were selling into it. Just makes me a little bit hesitant on Netflix, but yeah, this technically it's a vibe bull entry. And then one that I'm watching, and this isn't one to trade right away, and I'm not watching it through the eyes of a vibe. I'm watching this through the eyes of a trend rider. And if you know the trend rider, you know why I'm watching this, because of this action right here. These Bollinger Bands. You notice when they get tight with ConocoPhillips, what happens? It tends to make some pretty explosive moves. So that's what I'm watching. This thing would have to, today it gapped above the 7, a little bit of a pattern there. Nothing technically, there's nothing weak, there's nothing strong right here with it. So this is one on the radar. It's nothing that I wouldn't make any type of trades here today on this, but this is setting up really nicely for, it's either going to break to the upside or the downside, and really I'm going to let it determine which way it's going to go, but that's on my radar as far as these type of stocks go. And then the last one, and Johnson & Johnson. When you see Johnson & Johnson, I see these big explosive moves, because man, when this thing moves, it really goes. Okay, now there's been some pretty big resistance right up through this level. It's about 93.50, right in that range. All right, so what's gone on here? There's a couple things, a few things that I'm seeing here that's some pretty bullish. It didn't make the top 3, but it's pretty bullish. Yeah, we have a vibe bull entry today. You can't argue that. All the averages are going up. I don't have the averages on there right now. I'm looking through this at the eyes of a trend rider. All right, but notice the candlestick action yesterday. That's called a dragonfly doji, and those are fairly accurate, and it was today. There's a little bit of follow through. Now, when most of times when stocks break resistance, which it did right up here on this day right here, broke resistance, what does it do? And I know some of you are already saying what I'm going to say. A lot of times it's going to come back and retest that area to see if it holds as support. Okay, well, it broke it yesterday, but look at the nice dragonfly doji action. Today it's pushing up off the 7. It's a good looking chart. I couldn't argue an entry. It didn't make the top 3, but that's a decent looking chart. I'm just a little bit hesitant with that one. Really it looks fairly good, but I don't know why. I just felt better about the other ones. Okay, but if you wanted to enter a trade on this, use the 7. Maybe a little bit lower than the 7, but yeah, well, it's not my top 3, but I do like that setup. Okay, on Johnson & Johnson. With Johnson & Johnson, if you wanted to get into this, stop. Let me see where the price is. It's up in the $86 range. Sorry, 93.86, 86 cent range. I'd probably put a stop down here at about 93. That's been really, if you're looking at this, the way a lot of times I'll look at things, to me, at this point, the bigger level of resistance was 93. Even though it got up towards 94 there, it broke through 93 and it never held that level. Here it's breaking through, now it's holding the level. I would put a stop at 93. As far as a price target on this, usually stocks in this range, when they start breaking up into the 90s, they can go to 100. That's pretty darn aggressive for a price target here. I'd probably put it into the 96 to 97 area, but if it gets running for you, I would just use the 7 as a stop. Once it starts moving out of this range, that's what I'd use. Eventually start to use the 7 as your stop, and then watch it. Okay. Trade signal for J&J. This is a vibe bull entry. Now I'm going to do a training on these, the vibe bulls and the trend riders, the vibe and the trend rider strategies, and it's going to go on the website so everybody can see that. I put a little bit more into these trades. It's not, I can show you right now 30 or 40 vibe bull entries, hardly anything as far as bearish entries right now. But there's certain ones that I'll choose over others, and it's for various reasons. One of them, And what I see right here, what it's got going for it, okay, it broke 93 like it had over here, and this time it came back. So you got a couple things. You've got a bullish candle pattern right there, which is a dragonfly pattern. It came back, retested 93, is holding that level and is pushing higher up above the 7. So there's several things here just besides a vibe bull entrance. Again, the volume's a little bit weak here, but with these trades, you don't always need heavy volume. To me, because you've already got a trend established here. If you've got an established trend, when you get these bullish signals, you don't always need the heavy volume to associate with it, as what we're doing is just continuation of the trend. And that's what these trades are. Okay. So yeah, I like it. I like the setup. But watch them into the close today. Again, if they sell off into the close today, I'd be a little bit hesitant. If they rallied into the close today and maybe close towards the highs, then they look good to me. Okay, that's my top 3. All right, Darren, that's my top 3. If you have any questions, comments, I'll be on chat. You can reach me through email as well. That's Carl with a C at TraderMinute.com. Thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you a little bit later on. You're welcome, Martin. Bye-bye.